A pleasant good afternoon. This is Wednesday, June 12, 2024. That should always be added, I guess. And this is the meeting of the San Rafael Fire Commission. And as we should do and follow the agenda, are there any members of the public who would like to chime in? Or that we know about? And apparently we don't know about it because our controller just left the room. We'll assume there are none for the moment. If there are, we'll get back to you and hang on to your thoughts. Take care of that. The minutes were distributed in, they have been read by me and most likely everyone else. Are there any omissions, corrections to the minutes as presented from the previous meeting? I'm hearing no comments. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes? So moved. So moved, John, thank you. And a second? Jim, thank you. And all in favor of accepting, we do, I'm sure. They are, and we move on. Fire Foundation from Donna, who is not here, which probably means we're not going to hear much about the foundation today unless somebody else has information regarding them. No, all right. We will hold that for, by the way, August. Because we are on in July. 150th anniversary. John?
So all open houses have been on the calendar. I will update.
Did we get a 56 date, John?
We do have a 56 date. And
I think that's an important one. I think
Yeah.
the neighborhood out there will really appreciate that.
Yeah, so they're all on the books now. I will need your help, chief. Let me back up. The big event is the apparatus parade. And I've been playing tag with Leonard Thompson because he's been traveling up to town. But he said initially that they should be able to approve that without any problem. There's a $5,000 budget towards 150th anniversary events, which includes promotional material, cost of the parade, and food the day of the event for people participating in the parade. Chief, I need to get your help because I know last meeting there was mention that the mayor said that they would help out in terms of some of the costs, but we don't know what that is. I think that was Chief Rowland mentioned that. So the cost right now is the parade permit unknown. There's insurance that's required, which is $419. And then Sergeant Ingalls was saying that he would circle back to me regarding the monetary amount of the police overtime. So those are the three expenses. So now it's a question of, is the city able to help us out with any of those three?
I have a related question. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is this parade gonna be up on Fourth Street
Yes, it's gonna be on Labor Day Monday.
and Public Works is involved, right?
We haven't got there yet. How do we get Public Works involved in terms of like closing the streets? and
Yeah,
things like that?
they gotta be closing the streets, they've got the.
So that's
the
with
fences, all that.
so that's in coordination with the contact for parade permits is Sergeant Ingalls with the PD. So he coordinates all that
Okay,
because I had to submit a map and what our requirements are.
yeah, and I was part of the May Madness.
Oh,
parade.
Hmm.
I think we worked with them.
yeah. And then with the static display of apparatus down here. And then we were trying to figure out where to stage. The big thing was they don't let San Rafael High cross the smart train tracks. But for our purposes, they said it's not a problem. So we'll probably stage the rigs at San Rafael High that morning.
Okay.
Because the best thing about San Rafael High is we can use the restrooms.
There you go.
What's the date and time, John?
So that's going to be on Labor Day Monday, which is September 2nd, and tentatively at 11 a.m.
Just keep in mind that SMART also requires a permit if you're crossing their tracks for an organized event. But this is interesting because the parade doesn't start till Lincoln, right?
Yes,
So really, although you're crossing the tracks, you're not really, the parade hasn't started
Yeah.
yet. So I don't know-
right.
I don't know if that's a technicality or not.
Well, when I was talking to the sergeant, he like, well, Smart Train comes at 11:37. So he
And
goes,
it's always
get,
empty too, so.
so he goes, get all the rigs to the other side of the tracks by that time and we'll be good. So we don't know how many
I withdraw my comment.
pieces of apparatus we're sending, once we get the official okay, we're gonna send out an invitation for all the neighboring counties to send a rig
And how long do we have this week?
from like 1000, from probably about 10:30 onward to about 12:30.
Ooh,
But they're gonna, so they're gonna reopen the streets up to, except between C and E Street. Anybody who wants to display their rig will just park it in wildland style staging. And so we'll see, because I don't, so I mean, I have no idea how many rigs are. Plus,
I think you can get a lot of them.
yeah, especially from the private collectors.
And 2 hours. That's kind of pushing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a little tight.
yeah, okay. Well, I'll talk to you more about it, because you've done May Madness, so you would know.
Yeah,
So you can help me, you can figure out, you can help me figure out, but kind of that's where things are.
and do the commissioners get to ride in the parade?
Yes, so very important point. We can't leave anybody out in terms of, we want to make sure that we invite all the right people. So city managers, mayors, councilpeople, we will find place for them on these rigs. Because that's just how it is, right, chief?
Supervisor, like David Conley, assembly member.
Well, we would, as we get closer, we'll make sure that we have a list to make sure that they get their invitations and we'll find a place.
Yeah.
Because
Got it.
important.
Is there any public speaking or anything like that, or is it just a parade?
At the parade and it will end at D Street
Mhm.
and 51 will have their open house in conjunction.
Okay,
And then we're hoping to close D Street between 5th and 3rd.
That's the parade is just one.
Okay.
Correct.
yeah, that's great. Will we do something like this?
Yes.
For it?
So we will have an e-flyer for that, and then what we're going to do is print a postcard that has all the anniversary events.
Okay,
So that's coming up.
okay, cool.
And that'll be to hand out.
All right,
Perfect.
yeah, I can work with Quinn on some of the social media promotion.
Perfect, that would be
of this. Yeah,
That'll be great. And then the answer was that, yes, Chief Marcucci does have a private car engine, Dr. Sunpal.
Okay.
So he would be really excited to do it for you, Bob. So
That's
once we get it.
If I got something like that and I had a logo, or if I speak to him about some type of logo, I could send a request for some donations to like AIG and the Hartford and Travelers
So
and those guys.
that'd be great. So let me talk, I'm supposed to meet with Chief Thompson soon. So in terms of soliciting sponsorship, I'll get some information.
They just gave us, $1,000. couple of them.
That'd be great.
Gotcha. Semi-technically, they are the sponsoring agency.
Correct.
Foundation.
The foundation is a sponsoring agency because we will make it clear that no city money is being used.
Right, got it. Understood.
so that $5,000 coming from the foundation.
Correct.
There's no steamers now.
No.
I mean, there used to be.
You know what? Palo Alto had a muster or Mountain View, so we can check down there.
Yeah, it's kind of far,
Yeah, I mean,
but that would be cool,
that'd be cool.
especially if it's working.
So, so there's a lot of coordination and it's a question of how much we can put a lot into it or it's just, because it's like those 2 hand-drawn rigs that are down in Urso. We can have them part of it, right? But it's kind of a lot of work to get them.
Hmm.
So it's a question of being able to divide the labor up against it.
No, what we used to do is we used to do it with the scout, explore things, but they, go around, they revarnish and.
That's great. We're thinking explorers, new recruits, San Rafael High football team.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they, well, of course, they're all human pulled.
Mhm.
You don't have any enforceable stuff in them. Then the explorers in their uniforms pull them up and down.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So
I can see that.
that's been talked about, but, well, let me finalize the parade and make sure that the city approves, and we get the costs, and the funding secured, and then I'll move forward.
You have my contact information.
I have, yes, I have, yeah.
Is there a permit fee?
There is, they said they were gonna get back to me on what that is, so that's kind of where we're at.
My first reaction is given what it is. And by whom, if fee should be waived.
Yeah.
That's me.
That, and then, you know, the insurance, I don't know if they'll waive that, but I'll talk to you, later about how much May Madness pays for insurance.
And
Yeah, I can also see how much they pay for. After them. And then,
So,
John, I can also look into getting this on some of the calendars, like for the crab feed, there's a ton of different calendars that we always get that listed in. And people are looking for, hey, it's Labor Day,
yeah,
what's going
Sure,
on?
right.
So, this is a good one. I'll probably need a few more details, and it helps to have a graphic
yes,
that we can share with that
yes.
too.
Yes, and yeah, my daughter helped design these
Well
e-flyers.
done.
This is
Yeah,
very well
it's-
done.
Yeah. Yeah, with the help, like, so. And then Thomas has been helping as well, so it's been a bit of a group effort, but, we put those, A-frame sandwich boards around, well, you live out there.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Rick, and
You put it right there in the corner on,
like high visibility.
yeah.
Right?
Peacock and San Pedro.
Perfect. All right, things are moving forward. Great.
Any other events, should be Labor Day, sometimes, let's say, the Valley has some kind of parade. Is there anybody coordinating, checking?
Mill Valley just had their Memorial Day parade.
Is it just Memorial?
Maybe, I don't know if they do Labor Day
Yeah.
parade.
Fourth of July is always big on parades. I don't know of any other Labor Day events off the top of my head. But growing up with kids here in San Rafael, no date is good. There's always going to be
Oh, sure.
something going on.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
On for us. Any other issues relating to the 150th? No, all right.
Oh,
Yes,
Station 54. They have a piece of metal, steel from the World Trade Center.
yeah,
So their open house is going to be on September 7th, because that's when Captain Alvarez works. And so the question is, and I'll talk to Chief Roman and Chief Simber, kind of had like a brief discussion of, are we gonna have some extended 9/11 services, like reading of the names this year, perhaps at Station 54. Doesn't have to be part of the 150th anniversary. But I just wanted to mention that because they are working on a permanent display monument to FDNY, yeah, or outside of.
Yes.
So that's something that's
Yeah.
to be discussed as well.
Judging from the number of people at the table, this will be the short part of the meeting. That would be reports from, I'll hold mine for a second. David?
Only thing I have is I'll follow up on those items on the calendar, social media promotion, and really try and get the word out.
Okay.
Okay. That's it.
I have this thing with Berkshire Hathaway, and it's insurance related to wildfire. It's, they're gonna be putting these. It's very hard to model, wildfire because of wind, right? And so there's this community that I work with, and they're going to be, Berkshire Hathaway specialty is going to put these wind monitors up. I've met this guy and we're talking about doing it. It would be really cool, he's gonna do it for this community in East Bay. And it'd be really cool if you could do it in San Rafael. So I'm getting to know this guy, I've met him, and I'm working with him, so I'll let you know about it. Be super
And
cool.
Berkshire is doing it for their own data gathering, or?
Yeah. They said, hey, we don't participate in this community's insurance, but we would like to. You've asked us every year for the last 5 years, and we don't like to do things that we don't understand. But now we've got this new technology and we would like to deploy it at the four corners of this community.
Uh-huh.
And that way we can see, and my question was, I didn't understand. I'm like, well, how are you gonna do that? I mean, you could look at the wind patterns but it's not until, October when we really have the threat, the September, October winds, offshore winds, and they go, don't worry about that. That's not your concern, but we've got the technology to do it. So we just need you to make us the introduction to get the stuff up.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, they're
Yeah.
struggling to try to figure it out because you can look at it and they go, oh, yeah, because of the geographical layout, this models really well. But then it burns to the ground, right? Like Lahaina, right? Or wherever else. It's all about the wind. And that's what they're struggling, the insurance industry struggling to figure out because they can model hurricanes really well. Right? And, but they can't this stuff.
Huh.
It's kind of a crapshoot still. But,
Chief, a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an answer, but let me set the stage first. Years and years ago, when Caltrans launched the use of fixed position cameras to look at certain interchanges, that was all done with public money. Caltrans, State of California, blah, blah, public money. So the poles were most likely already there for another reason, like a light standard or part of a overpass or whatever. I don't think they really built too many standalone camera positions. Part one. Part two, because they were doing it, the little light went on. At the time, this is media 100 years ago, channels 2, 4, 5, and 7 went to the state and asked permission to put cameras, their cameras, on the buildings adjacent to the bridges and other locations. That brought about an agreement, oddly enough, among the four stations. And that was one camera would be at the Bay Bridge, one camera would be at the Golden Gate Bridge, one would be at the Richmond Centerville, one would be at the San Mateo, one would be paid for by Channel 2, one for by Channel 4, 1 by 5, and 1 by 7. And they would share the pictures. That was part of the requirement set by the state to utilize a public building. So far, so good. Berkshire Hathaway was looking for places to put apparatus, probably to sniff the wind.
yeah,
Has anyone come to the fire department and said, we want to put an antenna on your building, we want to put a monitor on your building? We
Well,
want-"
the wireless companies commonly approach government buildings wanting to put their antenna on buildings.
Right.
And enter into a contract for doing that, but, I don't know of any others offhand.
Okay. But just thinking out loud, there may be platforms, and they probably know that this already anyway, but a lot of structures, freeways and firehouses and office buildings that are paid for by public funds can and often do have unknown access for other issues because they're public dollars that got that structure there. Just throwing that into your lap for what it might be worth.
yeah, it's interesting. and it's interesting on two fronts. One is nobody else has come up with this, like AIG,
Right.
Zurich, the big guys, the big,
Yeah.
strong global players, right, that have this guy, Berkshire Hathaway is doing it. But the second side of that is somebody insures San Rafael, right? I don't know if it's Zurich on the primary or AIG or Berkshire, right? They would probably want to know this deal. But what is interesting, and I don't know if you've looked at it, like the new CAL FIRE website
Mhm.
and modeling and looking at your brush score, it's so impressive. I don't know if you guys have looked at it.
You had mentioned that, I think, at our last meeting as well, but yeah, it
Yeah.
is, yeah.
When you look at it, it's just pushed back. So, I
Yeah.
mean, we're safe here.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Well, you used to, I mean, the wind was everything for you,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah, got pushed around a little bit, yeah.
is that the time of the year that it's most dicey, or I don't know. You would know. You're more of an expert in it than I
Well,
am.
first of all, it's been a long time ago since I was flying, but, it's gonna sound, the answer is kind of, weird. We didn't pay attention to that because everything is so microclimate around the Bay Area.
Mhm.
We could fly through one area, it'd be calm as the day is long. And 2 miles away, have the crap beat out of us by something we didn't see coming. And so,
Kind of the same story that
Well-
these guys are searching for.
But do we model that into anything that fire departments have? Because the wind is, right?
Well, we
That's-
know, it was mentioned here a few minutes ago that we know that usually in September, October into early November, that we get the typical offshore wind. So now your fire season has matured to the point where now your vegetation is at its driest point. And now you're getting the warm, dry offshore winds. And now you're starting to get the chain, the links in the chain that will lead towards catastrophic wildfire. But we get very strong winds onshore. A few weekends ago, we had some very strong winds that were
Yeah.
actually coming out of the
One week
northwest.
ago. Yeah,
And I thought I was gonna lose fences and trees.
yeah,
yeah,
And it just came out of the blue,
yeah.
so you just never know. And that can, that is charged with humidity, and this is not the right time of year to have a catastrophic wildfire, but you could have a structure fire that now gets several adjoining structures going because of that wind, so you just never know. I used to say that, have a major fire usually only during those months that we just
Sure.
mentioned,
Yeah.
but, like, I think it was a week ago, last weekend, it was blowing
Yeah.
hail. And we've had a lot of
Yeah.
wind this spring, unusually windy days, so, you could have a small vegetation fire that just blows up and gets several structures going.
Yeah.
Now, that's not your catastrophic wildfire, but still, it's a significant fire.
I think they opened Hills Fire this October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one, I took 5 fire engines over there from Marin. It was all wind driven.
Yeah.
Tubbs Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Tubbs
morning,
Fire was,
I walked outside to go grab the newspaper. And I came in and I said to my wife, I said, there is gonna be a hellacious fire today. The weather conditions today are something I've never experienced. The hot, dry, windy weather that we had that morning. And sure enough, later on.
so, yeah.
but the winds are always changing too because of topography, right? So it's like,
Right.
yeah, we know that it's
Yeah,
It's coming
funneled down canyon.
east to west,
Yeah.
but if it goes up a mountain, it's gonna go this way or go around.
Yeah,
So it's not that easy to predict on a macro level.
But the technology that you're describing possibly could be installed on fire stations if those are in strategically well.
well, there's
placed
one at the
locations.
gate of this community. But I don't know, I think when I listen to the CAL FIRE guys talk about this place, they always say, well, this would be a backing fire because it's in a bowl, right? And, I guess I've learned from them that it means it would come back down the hill, so it'd be easier to fight. To me, I just think about it, well, again, if the wind, it's just gonna blow those embers down into the valley. But maybe that's what they're looking for, but as I meet with this guy and learn about this technology, I'll share it with this.
Or
group.
invite him to a meeting. You could come and make a presentation or something.
Oh, that'd be really cool, wouldn't it? Yeah.
At
Yeah.
one time, the county burned fire department some computer stuff they were using to predict where a fire was gonna be, and it was taking in information on fuel moisture and humidities and temperatures and it, you know, the topography and all that, stuff, which CAL FIRE is actually using still. But
Take that and add a little AI and you'll
Well,
know.
exactly, yeah,
we
yeah.
could get your wind, you know, what do they call them, not speedometers, but you could get those out and get those, you know, tied into this computer system.
Yeah.
It could, in a real-time situation, tell you, you know, okay, time, red flag.
Keep going.
Okay, we need to move resources here and there now, for at least a couple hours,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Just, it's very complex, because San Jose State offers a minor degree in wild fires science. And it's really using like, vortexes and data points, things like that, for this trying to predict. So it's just, it's very complex.
Yeah, it's very complex. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys made me think of one other thing that popped up. There was, and I don't wanna dominate this conversation, but I'll just throw it out there. I have a buddy and he called me up and it's I think it's 12 unit condominium association in Nevada and they couldn't get insurance.
Hmm.
And so I said I'd help them and some other guy in my firm did it. And there's this insurance company out there. It's based in Montana. And they came in, we were looking around and we really couldn't find anything great for the guy. He was, you know, he was in a problem. It was older wood frame, stuff non-sprinkler condo, and the price went from, I think, 20 grand to like 140 grand, right? And so this entity comes in and it's called, Wildfire Insurance Company out of Montana, right? And they wrote it, they picked up 100% of the capacity of that deal. I think it was, I don't know how much it was. I forget how much the value was, total insured value. But what they do is they bring in their own firefighters to protect that structure. And I don't know how they do it. I kind of asked him, he goes, oh no, we have 500 firefighters on call and they protect that structure for them. And so I don't know if there are any San Rafael firefighters are part of this thing or how they do it, but
I know that they've been recruiting.
have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could you see them at like
Yeah.
incidents?
Yeah.
They don't have as much training, they don't have equipment, but it's like how it was in the 1700s.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know,
these bodies or are these firefighters?
Well, they have rigs, but
They
it's
have
just
rigs.
amazing how they can say that where, who knows where that rig is? The fire could break out, let's just say this afternoon.
At this
And-
place in Nevada?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they might be 2 hours away, so
yeah.
what are they gonna
Or,
do?
or
It's
are they
very-
gonna leave Dave's house to go to your house? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Right.
very strange,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but did they
But
get
they put up
insurance?
the capacity for this. They came in, capacity means insurance. So let's say the thing was 40 million, right? The total insured value of this condominium, 40 million. Well, the clients were only able to afford to buy, I think they bought 15 million, right? And so, but these guys came in with a very competitive rate, allowed the homeowners association to put up the whole 40. And they said, oh, by the way, we have our own fire department that will be there. And I mean, the guy talks a great game.
Oh.
Yeah.
They probably won't be, but if they got their insurance,
Yeah, right. And we've seen those guys, and I've heard of it before.
But where do they get, I mean, and how do they interact with fire
they don't.
departments?
And that's the other problem too, is
They get water.
they're not gonna get past street closures. You know, if the PD's blocked off roads and this unit shows up, PD's gonna be like, what are you? You're not a fire department, you're not getting in there. So there's
So
no
it's not like
coordination.
It's not like local fire, like
No.
SF
No.
Fire or San Rafael
No.
Fire that can say, hey, guys, I know what I'm doing.
No.
Let me, no.
They're a bunch of, college age kids. They're all mounted up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
A lot of wannabes.
Yeah, or people who have problems getting into the fire department through the regular way with background investigations.
Fascinating.
It's a term, it's a gig, it's a job.
It's an angle. I mean, because I'm looking at this, I'm going, let me get this straight. If this guy's gonna deploy professional firefighters to to guard a building that he's insured, he can potentially end up with a loss ratio of 0.
A lot of these outfits, they, claim that they'll pre-treat your house. To
Like Chuck used to
advancing,
do that,
to do
yeah.
advancing wildfire. They're gonna come
Yeah.
out and they're gonna pre-treat your house. To hopefully prevent the fire and the ember storm from getting your property going, right? But again, they've gotta be in the right place at the right time.
And the communication failed. They couldn't communicate.
Yeah, they're not part of,
That really went away.
so,
That failed.
but you know what? I mean, at least that property got insured, right?
It did get insured. It did get.
Either day, that's what's important.
I could see where they would say they have their own fire prevention people that would come in and work with, the city fire prevention.
Yeah, that's standard insurance company loss prevention, right?
But
Didn't something similar happen with some celebrity homes when the wildfires were coming
Yeah.
through Los Angeles
Exactly.
in that area? You know,
Correct.
And how did they interact with
Not well.
the fire department?
And you know, these aren't code 3 vehicles either, so they're gonna get jammed up in traffic and,
Just like anybody else.
yeah, so.
Or on the other way, or on the flip side of that, or break a lot of laws to get there.
Yeah,
You know?
Cause for-
Yeah,
Start a few fires on the way.
but that's interesting discussion.
Mr. Chuck, anything else to add? No? Right? No? Okay, my turn. Show and tell.
Show and tell.
Oh, okay. And this is, no, that's right. Well, yeah, hand me the back.
You know, you're the chair.
That's it. And I'll just
Exercise your authority a little bit.
Okay, so. The short story here is I moved into San Rafael in 1993. And became involved with the homeowners association in the area that I lived in 1994. And about 20 minutes later, I was president. You hear a train going through the room? So I started collecting information about San Rafael and fires and things like that. And one of the members of the board there for the homeowners association was a woman, Mary Ellen Irwin.
Oh, God, I saved her house.
Yeah, okay. Who was a fire commissioner. And so I met with her and she explained what fire commissioner was all about and what this is cool. Oh, we can do all sorts of things with the city and yada, yada, yada. That was then. Little did I remember that I was saving newspaper articles.
Oh, cool. Wow.
What is the date of it?
It's old because it says Raiders win at the top of it.
Okay, that's page one of. that
Yeah, this
paper.
isn't that fire that I was.
There's the other, that's the second page of that one. That's 1998. This one's 1995,
Oh, wow.
and this is the second page of 1995. Now, Thomas, these are now yours to go along with the television, to travel to open houses, to be posted up so people can look and go, you mean there were fires 20 years, 40, 30 years ago? Where? Yeah, there were.
No.
And what's interesting, when you read the articles, they could have been written yesterday. The comments from the people, same comments you'd get today. So what has changed? Not much,
No.
not much.
That's interesting, Mother Nature. It's
Yeah.
pretty consistent,
Yes.
you know.
And we're the ones that change, but Mother Nature doesn't.
You don't go up against Mother Nature. You
And
respect it,
no, I
you
mean,
respect it, no, and
yeah.
you try and save lives, get people out of the way.
Yeah.
Chief, like, remember Tubbs Fire, they keep telling me that runs through the park.
Yeah,
55.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like a natural fire corridor.
Right?
Yeah, well, the Santa Rosa fire, the same,
That's what we're talking, it's like,
yeah, same exact footprint, yeah.
Those are really neat. These are cool.
That's a
They're,
newspaper.
the same now.
People have newspapers delivered to their house.
Really cool. I grew up
opened the newspaper to see if the Giants won. That time was 8:30, so you drive, yep, see if Barry Bonds hit a home run.
Yeah.
I'm not that young now.
All right, chief?
Oh, chief
Thank you.
report. Is there an extra copy of that lying around by any chance?
Right here, right there.
Excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Let's see here. So I'll kind of just touch on certain things here. Obviously, Chief Roman appointed our new fire chief,
Yes.
has been appointed our new fire chief on May 23rd. We're all very excited about that. Thanks to the commission for your support. We know that was a significant part of it. The Station 55 open house, again, thanks to the commission, Commissioner Chung. The Station 55 open house was a huge success. Huge success. I mean, I was worried about certain things. That's what I do. I worry. I'm a worst case scenario kind of guy. I worry that there's certain things that are not gonna work well
Or nobody showing up, that's what I was afraid of.
or too many people showing up.
Uh-huh.
I was worried about the parking, worried about the lack of space out in front of the fire station. We would have enough support. And it went off really well. And everybody was really happy with it. So I just want to thank everything the commission did to make that happen. And I look forward to the next ones because that's a good example of how well received these are. So thanks again for that. Let's see, I want to just touch base on the Taqueria San Jose because we've talked about that a little bit at 615 4th Street. The fire that occurred back in mid-March, the fact that the restaurant hasn't reopened yet is just another, and probably will not now. It doesn't seem like, it's just indicative of when a business suffers a fire. You know this better than anybody, it probably won't reopen, especially a restaurant. And you just think about the ripple effect and the impacts that has on the community. So kind of sad. And so many people really like that restaurant.
There's
Thomas.
Yeah.
I've been there several times. So just wanted to provide an update on that. A couple of fire events that I reported on. The notable one on May 4th, the unhoused encampment that caught fire adjacent to a building. This has been one of my greatest concerns regarding our encampment areas, the fact that they're either immediately adjacent to or against structures. And this is a good example of what can happen. Now, fortunately, that structure in that photo had no openings, no windows or anything like that, because if it did, that fire would have probably encroached into the building. It was burning with such intensity. But what we're trying to strive for here in San Rafael is creating a provision where encampments have to be 10 feet from buildings, 10 feet from fence lines, 10 feet from property lines. We're now doing active enforcement. In fact, I was down there today with several other city staff members. The encampments along West Francisco Boulevard, fronting the Marin County roofing business. We had a fire in that encampment about a week ago. And so the city has asked for an emergency order through the courts for us to clear that or relocate, so let me be more specific, relocate those campers away from the fence line because of the risk involved with, these are significant structures they've built now. And on the other side of the fence, Marin County Roofing has all of their building materials, their vehicles, several LPG tanks. And we basically, we're requesting through the court that we're able to relocate these people away from that particular spot because of the risk it poses to the business.
And they're right next to the tracks, too.
Chief, that 10-foot easement, is that something that is that law now or
No,
code now?
it's not.
But
It's not, it's just, we feel it would be a best practice. If we
Yeah.
could enforce a 10-foot rule. We can't eliminate homeless encampments.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to be able to regulate, how far they are from structures, people's property lines. Or fence lines, just in the name of safety. It will minimize, like in that picture, damage to
Right.
structures or private property, and it also gives firefighters a better opportunity to control the fire. Because it's away from a fence or a
Yeah,
building,
yeah.
so That's kind of the goal here.
Will that go through council or?
It actually goes through the Ninth Circuit Court, I believe, yeah. So
Oh,
we,
really?
yeah, we prepared a declaration yesterday and it's being submitted to the courts, I think, tomorrow. So,
Okay.
few other fires, that are reported on, fortunately, really, no injuries or significant damage, but it just shows you that the firefighters are on a regular basis, besides all the EMS calls, they're responding to fires as well. There's response data that Thomas prepared on the top of page 4. A few staffing updates, most notably, BC Hatfield has now shifted in the role of EMS battalion chief, so he'll be overseeing specifically the EMS program from top to bottom. That'll be his focus now. And he'll be in the promotional process to promote a new BC later this month.
So there'll continue to be 3.
Yes, yeah. Right now, there's an active BC in its place.
Mhm.
And I believe we have 5 or 6 interested candidates that are vying for the position.
This position, is it Monday through Friday?
Yes. Yeah, it's an administrative role. So, a few training division updates, under the provision or under the prevention on page 5. There's a lot of new projects that are starting to be presented to the city of San Rafael as far as usually they're high density residential. This is an example on Woodland Avenue, although it's in the unincorporated section of San Rafael. Obviously, it's still in our response area, but it's just an example of one of the many projects that are slated to be built in San Rafael, high density. And on the back of, let's see, page 6, little wildfire mitigation update for you. And then an Explorer program update for you.
Can I miss it? I don't know, what's this? piece?
Yeah, that's that project on Woodland Avenue. It's called Auburn Grove. It's in the unincorporated area of San Rafael, but will be in our response area. That's being proposed through the county.
And what's the challenge for you guys on?
It's
this?
just, it's adding more.
more
No, it's
exposure?
not, there'll be sprinkled buildings. They'll meet the fire code. They'll be safe. It's an example of large scale projects that we are looking at here in San Rafael. In fact, earlier today, I was on a meeting regarding the Northgate Town Square project, which I think you might help me with this. I think this will be the largest single project ever in Marin County's history.
Yeah.
A
And
20-year
that's gonna be in
project.
our city.
How many, what's the, like, isn't like a 10 or 20-year?
Yeah,
contract?
they're gonna have to phase it in just due to its size and scale. Yeah,
How many homes are gonna be there, or how many
oh gosh,
units?
Like, is it have
1,500.
And it's going up too,
It's like
isn't it?
It's, I think it'll be, 68 stories will be the maximum height. Yeah. But then we've got several high density mid-rise projects being proposed right down here in San Rafael. There's just a lot going on potentially here in San Rafael. It's, will these projects actually move to construction? You just never know. It depends on funding and investors and insurance and things like that, but
Yeah, and
a
so
lot
when they do
proposed.
these things, they don't earmark funds to support more fire.
no, not at this time, no.
Yeah.
We've talked about the need for that. In fact, what we had done with Northgate Town Square is in the list of conditions, we had actually had one in there that said that based on God bless you, the size of this project, we could be requiring the developer to build a fire station and or purchase fire equipment and or fund additional personnel. But we've had to roll that one back. We're not allowed to do that, unfortunately, so we've had to take that off the list of conditions. So, but we're looking at other things that could possibly impose as far as funding mechanisms. So if you're gonna build this high density project, you're gonna need to allocate a certain amount of money based on the size and scope of your project into a fund that is for fire protection and EMS, something like that. So that's being looked at right now. So,
the warehouse on Fourth Street. Can you touch on that briefly?
519 Fourth?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 519 Fourth is a city-owned building. It's in between Grand and Irwin. It's a hideous looking structure. It's the location where temporary Station 52 was. It's used mainly as warehouse purposes. The city now has entered into a development agreement with the owners of the office buildings next door that extend from Irwin to 519 Fourth. That entire area will be torn down and a new, I believe, 8-story high-density residential, low-income building is going to be built there.
Is 8 becoming our new high-rise limit?
Well, apparently 8 is the maximum you can go before your building material requirements change substantially and throw your
Okay,
costs.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can go lumber. You can go 2 stories of concrete and then lumber the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Which keeps the cost of materials down.
I was able to walk through there with Chief Bernard, so the
594.
relief truck. For the backup truck for when 54 is out of service,
Mhm.
the relief truck is stored there. As well as the antique apparatus, 1938 apparatus, so.
Yeah, one of the big challenges is gonna be, that is our storage facility. Unfortunately, none of our fire stations, even the new ones or the renovated ones, have any capacity really for reserve or antique equipment or for all the storage that we have at 519 Fourth. And so that's gonna be a big challenge for us is, where is all that gonna go? Including the garage space for the reserve vehicle and the ladder, the antique ladder, which is, I think is huge. You know, you just can't park that in somebody's garage. That's gonna take up, a big covered space. So we've got a real challenge when they go to basically give us the order to move out of there.
The ladder that I'm talking about,
That 1938 the France.
The yellow one.
is yellow.
No, that's our reserve ladder, that's reserve truck 54, and then we've got the
Rear mounted,
antique ladder in
Oh,
there,
yeah, right, that one, sure.
and then the hand-drawn,
the 1938,
horse-drawn ladder.
the France rig, that's.
Oh, the one I was talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's 2
There
meters.
we go.
I mean, it's the same problem, I mean, everywhere, it's, right now, the relief fire engines. They're just in the back of 57 or at the corporation
Yeah.
yard, so they're
the
exposed to the
weather.
elements.
It's too bad.
Any questions for the chief? Yep. Well,
Oh, sorry, one more question. I know that the Chief Roman wants some type of an informal celebration for his family to, I mean, it was always nice to have these ceremonies because the sacrifice that we all put in being in fire service. To have the families come out and celebrate.
You mean his promotion?
Yeah.
I would anticipate there'll be a badge pinning ceremony
Okay.
at an upcoming council meeting.
Okay,
That's what they normally do,
okay.
that we could all attend.
Can you let us know when
Sure,
that
of
is so we
course.
can show up?
Absolutely.
I am sure there are the commands for the day that go out every day to every station that, the flags will be at half-staff because of the following reason.
Uh-huh.
Make sure the trucks are washed and all that kind of crap.
Not that, but the first one, yeah, the
Yeah.
flags for the half staff, there's an order that goes out citywide,
Okay.
all city facilities.
And I imagine a common calendar of events for certain things within the department.
Internally, yes.
Internally, how far outside internally should or can?
It doesn't, it's
Doesn't.
really just for operation staff.
Try to figure out how to keep us in the loop of.
Be
what's
happy to
going-
share my calendar with you.
No, well, oh, yeah, fine. Yeah, thank you. I have often heard over the years, the comment in the back after the meeting was over, like, sorry we missed going to that.
Going to this,
But no, it just events that
well,
occur.
I'll let you know that in regards to the fire commission, I send out the chief's report, the agenda, and any supplemental materials to all San Rafael and Norwood firefighters in advance of the meeting. And like for this meeting, because we have several new members in the agency, from time to time, I also put out an explanation of what the fire commission does.
Ah.
And then I put your picture with your names, so that everybody in the organization, from the very top to the very bottom and everybody in between, gets full information on fire commission activities and who you are and what you do.
Thank you. Didn't know that. Well. Any other business at the table? No. With 8 minutes to go, let's go on vacation. This meeting is now officially adjourned.
Yay.